What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the Collective Podcast. This is actually a recording that we did just a few days ago for our paid members. And so usually these trainings are behind the paywall for the people, a part of our coaching community, but it was so good. We wanted to give you guys, the listeners to the podcast, the viewers of the podcast, the opportunity to kind of see what we do inside of the coaching piece to the collective. And so Jen and Shane did a phenomenal job in this teaching, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So if you're sitting down, get out a pen and paper, open up a Word doc on your computer, and get ready for a lot of nuggets to be dropped on you. So without further ado, here's the next episode of the Collective Podcast.
Welcome Jen Moretti to our call today. She was part of Next Level. She's been a part of the collective. She's a broker owner, a producing broker owner. So that's like, you got a lot of work, and then you just add on top of that and you have a producing broker owner. Jen, just for those who don't know you, share a little bit, just briefly, like the 1-minute bio of Jen.
Sure. Yeah. I have been in lending forever. It seems like since about 2010. I started in banking and credit unions, and then found my way into mortgages, and I started in retail mortgage in 2012. Was there, loved it, absolutely fell in love with lending and how challenging mortgages can be, as we all know, and then decided to step into the broker side back in 2019. And we're getting ready to, celebrate 5 years in business next month. So we're super excited about that and very, very grateful. And I love it. I may never get out of the originating because I just love talking to people. Every day is a new day. I have always loved that piece of it. And then the admin and the business side, it comes with the territory. We're here. I'm a glutton for punishment to do all the things, but I love it. And I'll probably never leave this industry.
It's funny. Everyone's like, I love it. I hate it. I'll never leave. Right. Isn't that funny?
It's so true. It's addicting for sure.
It is addicting. Well, I asked you specifically to join because you have a unique perspective. And as a producer, I was a producing LO. I got in 2009. So like we got in right around the same time. I was retail, started my own brokerage. And again, this a conversation for another day is when people say, well, should I be a broker? Should I be retail? Yes. Whatever is right for you. And it really has to align with what your goals are. My goals were very different. I wanted to build something I could sell and kind of pass on. And like, it's hard to do that in retail. I've been in retail, and I had more profit in less hours working retail because I was able to specialize more on a few little things, and not like being a broker owner is a lot on your plate. So again, no right answer. We're not here to propose that any is better, because there's a hat for everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But today what we wanted to do is continue off of part 1 on the loan process. And so what I did in part 1, which if you haven't watched that, it was also done as a podcast. I kind of broke down the blocking and tackling, the assembly line process I created when I started to grow my business and hit top 1% 6 years in a row. It was not because I was a great marketer or really sexy on TikTok. It's because I built a process that was bulletproof, to the point where when I retired from the fire department, I'd been in origination since 2009, retired from the fire department in 2016. I had been originating for 7 years. My referral partners didn't know I was a full-time fireman. My process was so dialed in. And I did that out of desperation, not because I was a great designer, but I had to be available. I had to answer questions, even if I was off doing CPR on somebody in downtown Seattle. And so in part 1, we went through from referral, from lead source up to the finalization of your pre-approval, all the things you do, the technologies you use, the strategies, the tactics, the scripting. And today we're going to take it from under contract through post-closing, through funded. And so like, I'm going to kind of break down the things that I have done in my business that I use with my 8 LOs on my team. And Jen's going to kind of also share her perspective. And some things will be the same and some things will be different. There is no right or wrong or perfect Swiss Army knife. There's just the one that you're an expert on that aligns with your goals in your market. And so before we get started, I'm going to put a graphic on the screen. It's my attempt at being an artiste. Because I want you to be thinking about only working on things that are high on the enjoyment side and high on the money side. And so this is a chart that I drew that I'm going to share, and I'm going to post about it. But listen, if you're in a space where you have a lot of anxiety and you don't make a lot of money, that's an industry you shouldn't be in, right? That's where I was when I was a fireman, which is crazy to say. I had a lot of anxiety, performance anxiety, just insecurities, and I made good money, but not compared to what I could make in this business. Fast forward a couple years later, I was making a lot of money, still had a lot of anxiety, and I was basically a slave to my job. What we want to do is get you to a place where you have high enjoyment. But if you have high enjoyment and you don't make any money, that's a hobby. Like if you love it, just like every day you just dream about going home and painting. That's awesome. But if you can't sell your paintings, like you shouldn't be doing that during the hours where you're looking to make money, right? And it's great to have hobbies, but we want to get to true business success. And that's where you find things that you're good at, that you enjoy and make you a lot of money. And the goal of designing the perfect loan process is identifying those skills, those actions. We call those ATMs, actions that matter, that align with you being in this, and then automating, offloading, using systems to take care of everything else, right? And so that's just the mindset that I didn't know I was building from at the time, but that's what I built. And so, kind of backing up. So when we get to this pre-approval stage, and Jen, I want to get your opinion on what you're doing, because the gap between getting pre-approved and getting under contract in my market has, now I know you have a couple other markets you're in. For me, like it used to be, you'd pre-approve somebody and 2 weeks to a month later, they found a house, they made an offer, they're under contract. So I'd get them pre-approved in a couple of weeks, they'd get under contract, 60 days, we're in and out of the process, we're done. For me in my market, due to a complete lack of inventory, that process has taken a lot longer now. So a person is getting pre-approved and they might stay pre-approved 90 days on the low end, 12 to 24 months on the high end. And so you have to be in front of these people more. And for me in my process, we use a lot of automated communication to stay in front of them. And the only thing I'll say on that, and then I want to get your opinion, is because people ask, well, what do you send them? You send them things that add value. And I know that's general, but it depends, right? Like, are they credit repair people that can't buy for 24 months? Well, that's different. Like what they want is different than what somebody who works at Amazon, made 4 offers, wants to buy a house, just hasn't found the right one. They have different needs. I would say this: when you send an email or you send a text or you drop a voicemail or you call them, you should be pushing $100 bill through the screen. Meaning that like your email should be giving them $100 worth of value. Your text message should be bringing them value. If it does, they'll opt in and they'll continue to opt in. If it doesn't, they will opt out, and you will lose the ability to nurture those people, which is a key component in this assembly line. So Jen, I want to pause. How do you and your team navigate that process from getting pre-approved to actually getting under contract?
That is a great question. So we're in several markets, as you had mentioned. I live and work in Colorado, and one of our biggest markets is actually Austin and Dallas in Texas. So we're very fortunate that we have some amazing real estate partners that they are pretty darn good at getting people under contract within the first 30 days. So our crunch time, or our lead time for pre-approval to under contract has really crunched down quite a bit. But on those off chances that we do have someone that's taking 6 months, 12 months to find the right home, we have automations. Automations are so key in what we do to stay in front of them, and we have 3 different ones set up that each one adds its own type of value. And keeps our name and our brand in front of them, the clients, and of course the real estate agent too. So
you use three different tools.
Yes.
All right. Quickly tell us what the tools are, because that's what everybody's going to go squirrel here and go look up the tools, because that's what we do, right?
Yes, absolutely. So number one is our CRM, right? That's tried and true. We send out an automated message on Fridays, specifically checking in and seeing, are they going to be out shopping that weekend? What are their plans for the weekend? And people, it looks like it just comes from me, very simple text-based, right? That's number one. And then number two is that we also send them every Friday, they get our interest rates. So we publish our interest rates everywhere. We don't want it to be a secret. We want to be super transparent with everybody. So they'll get an email that says, hey, here's what the interest rates are today on every, it's not Fridays, it's on Wednesdays. Sorry. So Wednesdays and Fridays. And then they'll also get a text message from us as well. Again, just checking in, seeing how their week is going and what their plans are. So it's really simple, basic. I want it to look like it's coming from me. I don't want it to look like it's just an automated mass message that's going out to 100 people, right?
So are you, so along those lines, because I think how we communicate is almost as important as what we communicate. Yeah. Do you have like header images in are you using like email templates, or is it just like rich text where it looks like literally just sent from my iPhone type? Like what's kind of your strategy on how it looks?
Very simple. So the email that has all of our rates, that's all branded, right? So it's got the logos, it's got the header, the picture on there, and then the rate stack. And then the email and the text, both of those are very simple. No HTML, no coding, no pictures. It just looks like I wrote the email or I wrote the text message and it came directly from me.
Cool. And we did the exact same thing. And I even have dabbled with every so often having an email or a text, and like in the signature line, it says sent from my iPhone.
Oh, I like that. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Because, and again, you got to be strategic. So this was just thinking about you, right? Mm-hmm. So if somebody's been looking and you have them classified, like in our CRM, we tag people. And so it's like pre-approved, looking long-term, like more than 6 months, right? Or something like that, let's say, or more than 3 months. They're going to get a message saying, hey, Jen, Shane over at Dwell, was thinking about you and your family. I know it's been a long time. I know you've been like, in this market, it's been a grind. Hey, I recorded a quick video for you, just kind of giving you some feedback on like what you should be expecting. Let me know what you think. Sent from my iPhone. So it's like, I was just thinking about you, right? I just recorded this little thing. And so like, I think that can be a very effective tool. And I love that you guys keep it super simple. And I agree on the rates. It's got to be very compliant. So you have to have more in that, right? Again, yes. My footer will still have like my NMLS and all that, but I think that's a different, like they're expecting what they want is the rate. So if you put the glitz and the glamour, they're not going to turn that down because they're getting what they want, right? You're giving them that $100 bill.
Yeah. And we want everything to be branded to us, right? We want them to remember our logo, our colors. We want them to remember me, our team lead, right? As, we were there every step of the process, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want them to forget that per se, but we don't want it to be just crazy, just glitz and glam and no value at all.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes perfect sense. All right. So you get a new contract. What I actually do work before the contract comes in to make sure that the contract comes in correctly. And by that, what I mean is that I'm instructing the buyer's agent what to do when they're even out looking at homes. Now, what I will do is a couple things. First and foremost, I have a platform that allows the buyer's agent and the buyer to update their pre-approval letter. And I think in 2025, everyone should have a robust web-based borrower/agent portal. And there's 50 companies that do that. And I've had pretty much all of them. I tried one way back in the day called SteadKey. That was just for pre-approval letters. Then my LOS had it built in. Then I went to Simple Nexus. They brought that out. Like we've done it all.
Oh yeah.
No right or wrong. Just have one that you use every time. And so when I'm working with the client post pre-approval, I'm encouraging them, hey guys, it's Friday. Hey, don't forget, log into your portal. Here's the link below the video. Log in, just make sure that letter aligns with what you need. I'm going to be out of cell coverage tomorrow for most of the day. Wink, wink. So if you need anything, like try to get it to me today. Again, that's not avoiding any weekend conversation, but it avoids the vast majority of them, because when people call me on the weekends, I forgot we wanted to make an offer on this home. Well, here's the address. Can you make a letter just for this home? Can you put the address on the letter? Can you not? Whatever. Can you show our max amount? Don't show our max amount. Like, everybody's different.
I need $5,000 more. You just
exactly. Can you do 3 letters for, increments of 10 over, because we don't know what we're going to offer. And yeah, those are like 2-minute asks. But when you get those on a Saturday, when you're watching your daughter's soccer and like you're on your phone and then your spouse gives you that evil eye, like, it's not fun. No. So I do that on the Friday. Then I also connect with the buyer's agent and we do a strategy call. And I call it that because I want them to understand the importance of connecting with me on this. And you could have your loan partner, you could have your processor do this, just someone on the team, the one who's best at that, makes them money and doesn't cause them anxiety. And I'm saying, hey, Jen, really excited that the Johnsons are pre-approved. Just heads up, I'm sending you 2 letters. I know you wanted, them approved up to 450, but they're actually approved up to 525. I'm sending you both, but don't forget, you can always log into the agent portal. And you can do that yourself. Hey, have you been in there yet? And they go, no, what's that? What's the agent portal? Did you send me that email? Yeah, like 4 times. I go, hey, real quick, since I got you on the phone, I'm going to send you, do you work better on your phone or on your laptop? Oh, I'm a MacBook user. Okay, cool. I'm going to send you an email with a link to the agent portal. Can you log in there really quick? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Hey, go ahead and click that thing, drag that slider, increase that amount, enter that address, click submit, check that out. Oh, I get my own letter. I want them to be prepared. I'm not asking my soldiers to go into battle without going to the shooting range first.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And so like, that's a key component in that week 0, week 1. To get under contract, you have to make a compelling offer in pretty much any market. I don't care if you're in New Mexico or New York, like every market is competitive. As rates go down, they'll get more competitive. My market is uber competitive because we have no inventory. And so we haven't seen prices drop because we just see people not buying while they're waiting. So that's a key component. The last thing I'll do with that agent on the strategy call is remind them that like I am here, my team is here to work with the listing agent to get our clients under contract, right? And that's important. And then I get on the phone with the listing agent. And so that's kind of that week 0. Do you do anything that I'm missing kind of in that, like getting them prepared to make an offer?
We do very similar stuff. A couple of them, we do a different style. So I love that you have the CRM or you have your loan software has the letter available to your agent. Ours does too. And I think that takes a little bit of training with your real estate partners for sure on how to use that. When we're onboarding a new partner, I have like an Evergreen video that walks through the capabilities of our system, walks them through the same thing that you're just describing. And I'll let them know, hey, if I'm out of cell range or I'm going somewhere or we're going to be at my son's football game, I'm going to be out of the office. I'm not going to be in front of my computer. We have access to this full 24 hours. And that way I sell it more as you're not waiting on me. You're not having to wait on me to get back to my computer to do all these things, right? You can just access it at 11 o'clock at night or 7 a.m. in the morning, whenever you need that. So very similar in that style. And then if we have a client that needs something like seller concessions, or maybe they need a faster closing or a longer closing, we definitely strategize with our partners on that for sure. Because that's the whole point of working as a team with your real estate partners, with your referral partners, because you're better as a team. 2 brains are better than 1. And to be able to strategize and get that client the best contract, the best deal on both fronts, right? The property and the loan. I think strategizing is a huge, huge component of what we're doing even before contract.
I love that you brought that up. And I want to just pause for a second and let everyone know on this call, spoiler alert, the majority of this call is going to be talking about week 0. And then we're going to fly through weeks 1 through 4 on the contract, because the game is won and lost before you even get on the field. It's how you're structuring things. And you brought up a great reminder. So I also did Evergreen videos for this stuff. And so then what I would do is on Fridays, I'm sending videos to my pre-approved looking people, my leads. I'm also sending a different video to my referral partners. And whether they're active on a deal, they're trying to refer people to me, or I'm trying to earn their business, I send them the same thing, because I want everyone to see what it's like behind the red velvet rope when you work with Shane and Dwell. And so what we're going to be sending them is, I know that, again, if you had a yellow notepad and every time you talk to an agent, you said, hey, what are the top 5 questions you have for me? And you wrote those down, you're going to get the same 5 or 10 questions. what's the max seller concession on an FHA, or how much money can they ask for? And how do they navigate this? And so I made cheat sheets for everything. And so to your point, when they're saying, well, we may want to go in with a seller, a seller concession, I say, let me send you a cheat sheet on that. Or on my Fridays, I'll say, hey, one of the questions we get a lot, agents, is, how much of a concession you can give on a deal. Like below this video is a link to download a PDF. We walk you through the concessions, right? Again, like make anything in advance that people could, should, or would ask you, and send it out early. And then also have a place where that lives all the time. And so one of the things we also did, and we're revamping this now, is we call it an agent resource site. So we have a website that we built inside of our CRM Fuel that all of our LOs have their own white labeled version of. And it has interest rates, bond market charts. It's got, stuff from the Fed. St. Louis Fed puts out really good numbers on application counts and things like that. It's got all of our cheat sheets and guides. It's got scripts. It's got links to all the places they should be going to, like the borrower agent portal, accessing the letter, the cheat sheet on seller concessions, a video from me introducing myself and my team. Sometimes they'll just share that video with the listing agent, and that's all they need. But again, like anything you can build Evergreen, send it out in advance of getting under contract as $100, email, but also have that live somewhere that's easy for people to navigate.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point. We're actually revamping our videos to include, how to go over loan estimates and closing disclosures with the borrower. We found a big one, especially in our markets right now, where government loans are like faster, more readily available, and more desirable. We're struggling with some of our partners on appraisals and conditions of homes. So we're working on an Evergreen video that will go over, hey, this is what you need to look for during an inspection, and sending them out a checklist to take with them to inspection. So anything like that can be an Evergreen video that, can create an oopsie or a gotcha down the road, or, somebody will have questions on, just automate it. It'll save you time and stress for sure.
100%. So that's kind of that week 0. So by the time the listing agent reaches out with a question, if they do, they've seen me online, got all the social media strategies. I mean, it's a small world we live in. You can pretty much friend request every listing agent, every agent that's doing any level of business in your markets, right? Even in Dallas. I mean, there's probably 1,000 agents or less in Dallas actually doing the vast majority of the business, even in that huge metroplex. Same with Seattle. And Facebook's got a 5,000 person friend limit. LinkedIn, you can add as many connections as you want. Again, there's no reason you can't have laid the seeds of success in week 0 so that they get an accurate letter. There's a video explaining your process and your team. There's a website branded to you that gives agents and borrowers all the information they need. Every Friday, you're staying top of mind. I like that you do a Wednesday rate update. It's like giving them something of value outside of just that Friday. And again, like I chose Friday because, to your point, they're going to go look at homes the next day. And I don't want them to forget me. I don't want them to go into a new construction home by Lennar or somebody, D.R. Horton, that has their own lender. And that lender maybe is doing a really good job of marketing their service. And then they've forgotten that they're working with me. So I think it's very strategic. Now, moving to week 1, the first thing I do is outside of operations. And I'm not going to get into like, well, do you update your pre-approval information? And when do you rerun credit? Do you run your AUS? Like, that's blocking and tackling on an ops side. I always would fall on the side of overly cautious. So I was rerunning DU as much as I could without causing a refer with caution, right? Like I always, like every time I changed it by $1 or something changed, I was rerunning. Well, and I'd have my loan partner updating credit when it was needed. If I knew credit was going to expire before the deal did, I was making sure that like we were updating that the day we got under contract before we locked the loan. All that was again, it's about preemptively attacking things that could, should, or would cause stress to you, your borrowers, or the agents, right? Yep, so outside of that, the things that make you money when you're under contract are what I think are really important. And this is about building and maintaining your reputation. Right. And so for me, the first thing I'm going to do is get on the phone with the listing agent. because I know that I can get business from the listing agent, because the listing agent is just an agent. Take off listing. They're just an agent. And depending on the market, they might love to do listings when the market's more favorable for that. And then as the market slows down, they start going, I need to get with more buyers, right? And they'll pivot. And again, every agent knows buyers. And so I'm going to get on the phone with the listing agent and I'm going to set the standard and the expectations for the month. And so the way this goes, I say, hey, Jen, it's Shane over at Dwell Mortgage. How are you? And she's like, Shane, who the hell is Shane? I said, hey, I've got a deal with you at 123 Main Street. We just got under contract hours ago. And she goes, oh, well, hey, I said, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I just want to walk you through a couple things on this deal so this turns out successful for everybody. And I said, just like, first and foremost, like, we're all about communication here at Dwell. So I want to make sure that you're good with our communication plan. Like, you can expect to receive emails anytime we have any updates, text messages letting you know to check your inbox, because I know if it's like mine, it gets overwhelming. And then we'll do calls every Wednesday to just check in and make sure that you're in the loop. I say, how does that sound? And I'm all about getting verbal handshakes. So I'm saying, hey, does that sound good? Yeah, it sounds good. No, I hate that. I go, tell me more. Why do you hate that? I don't want to get emails. Okay, cool. Like, I can take you off communication, but the way my system works, unfortunately, if I take you off email, it's got to take you off text as well. Do you want to receive no communication? And then they're going to say, well, no. And they're like, I'm too busy to receive text, or I'm too busy to receive emails. And they're not. They're just, they're grumpy, and that's fine. But I'm going to really make sure that they work my system my way, because I'm in control of the loan. Yep. And that's a big deal, because once they're under contract, the agents have in my opinion, much less impact on the deal. Now, there's an inspection period, there's that, contingency period, but really outside of that, it's all about the loan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they want to know that everybody's in good hands, right? Throughout Correct. That contract. That's really what it boils down to, that we're going to be communicative and it's going to get done on time or early.
Well, because what the listing agent doesn't want to tell anyone is their biggest fear is that they told the seller to accept an offer that blows up and the seller is going to blame them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I will tell them that on the phone. Hey, I know one of the biggest concerns listing agents have is did you take the right offer? And I want to let you know you did. Here's what we've done so far on this deal. And I walk them through the process of pre-approving them. I'm doing that because I want them to know I'm an expert. I'm a professional. Then I'm going to let them know we're going to make an agreement. I'm going to say, Jen, I need to make an agreement with you. I was a fireman before I got into lending. I am very transparent. One of the things I know that everyone hates is when people delay bad information until the last minute. Do you hate that? I hate it, Shane. Oh my gosh, let me tell you about my last deal, right? Like, that's what they're going to do. Hey, so here's the commitment I'm making to you. The minute I sniff any complexities, any challenges, even the potential for a speed bump on the deal, I'm going to let you and your team know. And I'm going to let you know what we found, what we're doing to address it, and if we think it's going to cause any delays. Your agreement with me is that you're not going to freak out and shoot the messenger, right? Because again, like, I think we can all agree this borrower wants to get into this home. Your seller wants to sell the home. Both of you agents are highly motivated to get this done, as is my team. We don't get paid unless we close the deal. Everyone has equal motivation. That doesn't mean that everyone is going to have equal impact. And so, like, if you're good with that, every Wednesday, I'll be giving you a quick call and just walking you through where we are on the deal. And if I do my process well, it's going to be a recap of what I've already communicated via email and text. And it's going to really be more of a stress check to make sure that we're on the same page. And then heck, if you pick up my phone call and you're curious on what's going on in the market, I can give you some insight into what's going on outside of our deal. How does that sound? And like, I will tell you when I do that, and then every week I do what I say and I call them on a Wednesday. And if they don't pick up, I send them an email recap, which is a CYA for me and my team.
Yep.
I never have issues I can't overcome. And even if a deal blows up in my face, they still look at me with, and my reputation is intact, right? Yeah. And if nothing blows up and the deal goes amazing, like it normally 99 times out of 100 does, I'm getting a 5-star review. I'm getting a coffee with that agent. I'm inviting them to my classes. They're becoming a friend. They're becoming a partner. We're sharing a cold one.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to pause. Anything differently that you do, things you do that you would add to that process?
So I do want to interject one thing. When it comes to listing agents, you're 100% right. Take away the listing, and they're truly just an agent and a potential partner for you down the road. But something to also consider is a lot of those listing agents had to work their way up to become a listing agent. And
True.
many times they have a team attached to them as well that
Yeah.
maybe has other buyers agents. So I don't want people to listen to this and say, well, I don't want to try to capture their business because they're going to be on the listing side most of the time. I think listing agents are, above and beyond huge potential for a new partner.
Yeah.
And if you can impress them, and like you said, communication is key. I believe 100% in what you were saying there. Let them know if there's issues. I know that for communication purposes, I call them when we're putting the offer in. I walk them through all the due diligence that we've done, because we do all of that up front. And then when we go under contract, we get the contract in that first. Within 24 hours, I want to call them and say, hey, I'm so excited. Thank you for accepting our offer. We are going to blow you guys out of the water. This is going to be a fantastic experience. Make sure that you're checking your email and text message. Do you have a transaction coordinator we need to include?
Yep.
Right? Checking all the boxes on that stuff to make sure they're getting the communication too. And then obviously you just knock it out of the park from there.
Yeah. So, and I love the mention on the transaction coordinator, because you can get more referrals from transaction coordinators than top producers. In fact, this is almost a 100% statement of fact. You get more referrals from transaction coordinators than top producing agents.
Yes.
Top producing agent, like their number one job is not nurturing the lead. Once they have the lead, it's finding more leads. And then they give them to their team. And then the team's job is to move that lead through the process. And so in our CRM fuel, we have automated communication for every milestone. It integrates through a technology called Zapier. You can also use make.com, also a great tool. I've used both, and I have both for different reasons. Inside of our CRM, we have what are called webhooks, which are ways to dump a bunch of information in your CRM through Zapier at a low cost, and then do all the heavy lifting inside the CRM for free. And so that's a key component of what we do. Now, automated communication with weekly updates that are personal. That's, again, talking about where my best use of time is. It's getting on the phone. It's having transparent conversations. It's shooting them straight. It's being direct. It's figuring out that, like, we have friends in common. Again, it's being a Rubik's Cube. I am red to red. I am green to green. Like, whatever you need, I can find somebody or some interest that we share. And that's big, because I'm looking at building friendships on these calls. I don't call them loan update calls. I call them stress checks, right? Because everybody else calls them loan update calls. I say, hey, listen, if I do my job right, I don't really need to give you a loan update, because I've probably sent you an email 3 hours before letting you know the appraisal's been ordered, or the day before saying that we're CTC on the deal, which means clear to close. I'm calling to make sure that you and your team are good, because without real estate agents, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Right. And so and then with the transaction coordinator, I'm saying, hey, I know you guys get dumped on a lot. Is there anything my team or I can do to help? My team's got a little extra time today. Like, is there anything we can help you with? And if you mean it when you say it, they will feel it, and they'll be like, wow, that's really cool of you. And then send them cards, send them thank yous, get on Facebook and friend request them, and engage with these people. Because if you're good at your job, you want them to be your friend online, because then they're going to become a microphone and a mouthpiece for your success, which again is building that reputation. Now, a couple things I'll add, and we've talked about this on other calls, but if you haven't been on those calls, it is never too early to ask for feedback. What I do is I don't call a review, I call it feedback. And I will, and I know there's somebody out there that can crush this strategy. If we're 4 days into a deal and the transaction coordinator says, oh my gosh, this is the best loan we've ever worked on, and wow, you and your team have knocked out, I'm going to say, Jen, would you do me a favor? Like, I don't advertise. My business is built on feedback. It's how we improve. It's how we make things better. And I want to make this better every day. If I sent you a link, would you leave me some feedback about what you've experienced up to this point? And people will say, yeah, cool. Hey, I'm going to send you a text right now. Ping. And then they go, oh, that just came over, right? Like instant results equal instant gratification. And that's what people want. If you say you're going to do something, do it. And so I'm gathering feedback as often as I can. You could probably get 2 reviews from one person on one transaction if you really worked it well. And on those Wednesday update calls, that's a great time saying, hey, it's the stress check. To go, I have no stress. Like, and what I even say is, hey, on a scale of 1 to 0 to 5, 5 being like everything is amazing, I have nothing, 0 being I'm stressed, I need help. Like, where do we sit today? Like, just again, become a master on gathering feedback and doing that well. So that's something that I do. Now, here's a caveat and a way to make double your revenue on every loan. This will 2x your revenue per loan. In addition to the borrower, the co-borrower, I do those calls to them as well. So like, and this is a lot of calls on a Wednesday. If you have a lot of deals, and if you don't have a lot of deals, it's a few calls that gets you to a lot of calls. And it's a blessing to be busy. I'm talking to the borrower, co-borrower. Now that might be a call. Some weeks that might be a Zoom. It might be a recorded video. It might be a slide dial. Again, be strategic with your communication. We talk about using email, text messaging. Like, you got to have several different ways that you're communicating with people. Because again, for me, email is actually easier than text in a lot of ways because I can organize it better. Like, I'm in Teams all day and like people are like, oh, did you get my message in Teams? I'm like, no, dude, like I didn't. It got pushed down the thread. Whereas if you send me, again, I might be the outlier, but have multiple ways you communicate. So I'm communicating to the borrower, the co-borrower, the transaction coordinator, the buyer's agent, the transaction coordinator, the listing agent, and any other third party that's impactful on the deal. And this is where you 2x your revenue. I reach out the day I get the contract. I'm looking on that contract to see who escrow and title is. If you're in an attorney state, is an attorney. Doesn't matter. I'm thinking, is there an insurance agent that I got to update a policy on? I'm thinking if I'm self-employed and one of the caveats is we're during tax season and they're going to be filing amended returns or something like that. Who else is impactful on the deal? Those people are getting included in my update calls. Those people are getting included in my communication. I will tell you, I will bet you a year of CRM for free that if you looped these people in sooner, it would lead to a positive impression. And so what we do is with these escrow and title people, I call them week 1. I'll say, hey, Jen, over at Tycor Title. I'll say, hey, it's Shane. I'm at Dwell Mortgage and I'm working on a deal that you're the escrow agent on at 123 Main Street. She's like, are we funding today? Did we miss a funding? Because listen, when do agents and lenders talk to escrow and title?
It's always at the end, right? It seems like
right at the end.
Yep.
Like the day of closing, the day before, we're scrambling to get docs in, something's happening. And imagine being in their shoes. Out of a 30-day transaction, they hear from you for the first time on day 29. What are you non-verbally telling them you think about them?
Oh, you're not important, right?
You're not important. And we want to tell everyone you're important. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the escrow agent, the title agent, and say, hey, Jen, it's Shane over at Dwell, 123 Main Street. And she's going to be like, 123 Main Street? I'll go, hey, do you even have this in your system yet? Half the time, they don't. The agent switched title companies or escrow companies. The agent hasn't submitted the docs to them yet. I go, hey, let me do you a favor. Would it be cool if I sent you over the purchase and sale? Hey, I'm going to have my assistant send that over right now. Hey, one of the things I commit to doing is always communicating with everybody involved. And you're important on this deal. The last thing I want to do is have loop you in at, the 11th hour on a deal. And you're like, what the heck, Shane? Thanks for bringing me in so late in the deal. Because I know that's what happens. Again, if you speak to their frustrations and you tell them how you're going to solve it, they won't be frustrated, right? They become your advocate. And so when I'm doing that, and then again, like you might be like, well, Shane, what are you really talking about? Every Wednesday, not a whole heck of a lot. I'm saying, hey, Jen, how's it going? Oh, fine. I got these 7 deals blowing up. It's like, is there anything I can do to help? Like, well, hey, did FHA have an update? And this one lender is telling me that they can't fund because you will be surprised at how many questions they have on deals that you're not on. And in fact, sometimes I've gotten deals that are blowing up with other lenders that are good deals from those interactions. So that check with the escrow and the title agent is just loving on them, reaching out. And I don't have to do that every Wednesday. It might just be an email the second Wednesday. But again, if I'm letting them know that the loan's been approved, hey, we got our CTC 7 days early, 10 days early, and they're CC'd on that, they do appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and 2, if you are making friends, if you're playing nice with everybody in the sandbox, right? If there is a snafu, if there is a hiccup during the process, they're going to be more likely to give you grace too.
100%.
Well. Yeah.
Well, guys, we said we were going to talk about the process from under contract to post closing, and we lied because there's even as little as we've talked about, and there's so many other things we could talk about on the deal. But again, I think if I'm thinking through the process of my team and our strategy, that week 0, all the things you do, the technology you use, your CRM, how important that is, and then those like update calls, those intro calls, and those update calls, like the loan is with the processor, right? Like again, there's tactics and strategies around how do you communicate challenges on a deal. But really, Jen, is there anything else that you think we need to touch on during the contract that we maybe missed outside of like reviewing the CD with the client and like things like that, when to lock the rate? Anything else that you think it's a marketing or a sales opportunity?
Well, I think that's really just the whole process is your time to shine, right? You're taking the time to earn business, earn a referral partner. You want to create a client for life. On average, a person will do 11 loans, 11 mortgages in their lifetime. So not only do you want to knock this one out of the park, but you want to get the ones down the road as well. So this is truly setting you up for success down the road. And if you're including everyone, like Shane, I think it's awesome that you're including the transaction coordinator and the title reps, the escrow or the attorneys. I think that you're just going to have such a feel-good process that you're going to get good feedback, good reviews. You'll have new partners out of that deal, and you'll have a client for life. So I think all of these, when you get someone under contract, that's truly your time to shine and show them how working with you can be stress-free. Like buying a home where people talk about how emotional and stressful it can be, you can provide the opposite experience in the best way, right? If you're doing these steps.
100%. So guys, see you guys on the other side. Jen, thank you. This was fun.
Yes. Thanks for having me. Great to see you again.
Thanks.